we have a. I know a lot of people come up to me. I ride my I call it a carving board, a race board. That's what I ride too. And I started about the same time you did, a little bit after that maybe. But whenever I ride mine in Tahoe, people ask me, "What is that?"
Oh, yeah.
They
it's a
act
common
like
question.
they haven't got any idea what kind. Is that some kind of snowboard? And it's a completely different board than a freestyle board. So we have here a freestyle board that I want you to take a look at and kind of explain to people the difference between a race board and a freestyle board. And I'll grab the freestyle board here. Now, typically, this is what you're going to see at most ski areas, a board like this. Even though they come with different colors and brands and so forth, but what makes this a freestyle board?
Well,
compared to a race board?
Basically, I mean, a freestyle board is just that. It's, it's more of an all-terrain board. They've gotten more specific, but generally you have the twin tip shape. The bindings are different. You use different boots, a little bit softer boots.
Here's a freestyle boot. Now, when you say softer, it's
yeah, it's just they call them soft boots.
It's flexible.
It's flexible. It's made of different. It's not hard plastic like a ski boot. So you have a lot more play within the bindings, and these boards are really great for powder, half pipes, things like that. But for racing, you just don't have the control.
Now, how about the stance?
Stance is wider.
On
the freestyle, your stance is going to be wider. You're going to ride,
This one's not quite set up the way most freestyle boards are, as you can see.
So your stance is wider. You're going to ride less angle.
Your feet are going to be more parallel to each other, or maybe even have your toes pointing out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. What they call it?
Duck stance.
Duck stance. Yeah. Okay, and what about, we heard side cut. What's the side cut?
It varies on different boards.
And
but
what does it mean?
Side cut basically is what allows you to turn the board. So if you were to lay this out on a piece of paper and trace it, it wouldn't just be straight. Basically, you would have the, part of a circle.
Going along the edge.
Yeah.
So if you sight down it, you can see that it actually curves in the middle. It's got like a waist in here.
If you tip it up on edge here, you can see that you actually get airspace in between the bottom here. So you can tell that it dips in. It's skinnier. It's narrower in the waist, and then it's going to be wider at the tip and tail.
So let's put a race board up here. We'll grab your board. I'll just set this aside here. This is your giant slalom board, I take it.
Yes.
This thing weighs about...
It's pretty heavy.
80 pounds? Pretty heavy.
Yeah, they're not the most travel-friendly.
And now this, as far as side cut goes, this thing looks a lot straighter as I look down it than the freestyle board.
Yeah, it's going to have less side cut, is what they call it.
So how does that? How does the side cut, if it has less or more side cut, how does that affect when you're riding it? What happens?
Well, basically, it's just going to affect the radius of your turn.
Okay.
So if you have, a bigger side cut, which would say a slalom board would have a 9-meter side cut, so it's going to be a tighter radius turn.
Okay, so a 9-meter radius turn.
Okay. Where a GS board is going to have, say, probably a 17-meter side cut.
So it's going to make a bigger, wider turn.
It's going to make a bigger, wider
faster.
turn. Yeah. And then you've also got, these boards have a lot of taper, which means that the tail is actually a lot narrower than the nose, what that does is it releases the board down the hill or down the fall line is what they call it. And it just makes for a faster board overall. Okay,
and it's stiffer too.
A lot stiffer, yeah. Yeah, I mean...
You said a slalom board may have a 9-meter side cut, and a freestyle, what, 7 meters, 6 meters?
No, freestyle is probably pretty close to a slalom board, but because you're not making really tight turns with it, I think freestyle is probably going to be anywhere from the 9 to 11. Okay.
Do you ride a freestyle board?
I do.
On occasion?
Yeah, any chance I get. I love free riding and especially powder. That's.
Now, this is a race boot, correct?
Yep. That is a race
And
boot.
this is a whole lot stiffer, and it's just hard plastic compared to the freestyle
Yeah.
boot. What's the advantage of having such a stiff, hard boot?
Well, it's control. I mean, if you think about all of the force that's being applied, that you need to apply to this board to make it turn, with it being as stiff as it is, you can't just use a regular soft boot and rely on your ankles really to make the turn. You need a hard shell plastic so you can use your knees and your hips and your whole body to, bend that board and make it turn.
And now I noticed too, on this particular board, that these are your bindings, and these are a lot different than the freestyle bindings. These bindings, instead of having a bunch of straps and whatnot, these have
Bales,
kind of like a
straps, they
ski
have-
almost.
Yeah, it's similar to a ski, or I would say closer to a ski. And again, it's just all about they're a lot stiffer. The interface between the boot and the binding is a lot stiffer. It's a lot more direct, a lot less play.
So it's not very forgiving then compared to a freestyle board, right?
No, it's not very forgiving.
If you make a mistake.
Yeah, you're gonna feel it. If you make a mistake, then it's gonna be directly transferred into the board.
What's this plate system you've got here? What do you? what's that?
That's basically a big dampening
Tip it
plate.
over. You can see that it actually has a gap, a space between the board and this plate on top where your bindings are mounted.
And what that is it's just you've seen a lot of the ski plates now that they ride that's just acting like those big ski plates. It's a big dampening plate, and it shears, so it floats in the front and is locked in the back. So it just absorbs a lot of the bumps, and it releases the board. When you build up all that pressure in a turn, this plate will release some of that energy before the board does, so you don't get this big snap or pop that shoots you up out of the turn. You can stay connected with the snow and have all of that energy transferred downhill.
So this is a basically state-of-the-art race board right here.
Pretty much, yeah. This is a custom-built plate that it's a concept and a design that I came up with last season, and we had a guy build them for us up in Hood River, and we've been testing them and racing on them. So yeah, everybody on our team's on that.
Should
plate.
I get one?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure how much fun it would be just a free carve, but for racing, yeah, that's
Okay, well,
the
I'm
way to
racing
go.
now. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
You didn't? Yeah, USASA.
What's the level beyond legend? Are you in the legend category?
No, I'm a little beyond that.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
they call it kahunas.
Kahuna.